Yo, what's going on, guys? And today I wanted to talk about the season predictions for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And obviously, you guys know this is a pivotal one for the Minnesota Timberwolves as Karl Towns is gone. And for me, I think, look, it was inevitable unless this team went to win a championship. But even if they won a championship, to have three guys on the contracts that they was going to cost this franchise way too much money to, in my opinion, make it worth paying Karl-Anthony Towns. So for me, I think turning Karl-Anthony Towns into Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, which we're already seeing how good Dante looks. And guess what, guys? Everyone's talking about the floor spacing being bad. Guess what? Julius Randle and Karl-Anthony Towns are actually, like, their three-point shooting volume isn't that far off. So in my opinion, there's going to be no problem with the floor spacing. If anything, people forget that Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert weren't really a perfect fit, and Julius Randle is more of a natural power forward, and dare I say, a better fit next to Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, and Anthony Edwards and Mike Conley. And now that you have Dante DiVincenzo, Rob Dillingham off the bench, it just, to me, I'm licking my chops. So before we start today's video, of course, I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. What is your expectations for the Minnesota Timberwolves? And I really do believe that this is a team that's championship or bust. I think anything less than a conference finals appearance, and a conference finals appearance where if they do lose, they lose it in like 7 or 6 games in like a very close fashion or due to an injury. I think Anthony Edwards is going to be playing that MVP candidate level ball that we saw in the first 2 rounds of last year's playoffs. I think Jaden McDaniels is going to have a really good offensive year, and I think Naz Reid is going to be a 6-man candidate. Again, the 6th man of the year, even though I think Malik Monk is going to maybe be the favorite to win it because they did kind of, I mean, I think Nas got it, but like Malik, some would say people thought was going to get it. Either way, let's get to today's video and let's talk about this team. So for me, I think the biggest thing is this team's deeper. I don't care what you say, whether you think this team won, lost, or whatever, the trade with the Timberwolves and the Knicks. What I think is this team is significantly deeper through the draft, through free agency, through trades. Tim Conley has done a great job. Did you guys know Tim Conley and I are from the same area in Maryland? I actually know people who went to high school with Tim Conley. Now, I think the biggest thing is that when you look at this team, Mike Conley, Rob Dillingham, and I guess Nickeil Alexander-Walker are guards or pure guards. By the way, Josh Minot might have a breakout season. I also love the signing of PJ Dozier, Terrence Shannon. I wonder if we'll keep Keita Bates-Diop. And then there's also, by the way, Leonard Miller, who, another guy. I love two-way on Jesse Edwards, who out of literally West Virginia. Solid guy. Luka Garza looks like he could also be a guy who will be eating up minutes, looking like he could contribute. Love the pickup of Joe Ingles. He's a guy who really solid for us off the bench. Like, this is a team that, if you think about it, Rob Dillingham, Josh Minot, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dante DiVincenzo, Terrence Shannon, Joe Ingles, Naz Reid, Luka Garza, Keita Bates-Diop, Leonard Miller, and PJ Dozier, all behind, like, those guys, in my opinion, are way better than some teams' whole bench and more. Like, I really like this team. Also, we'll finally see if Jalen Clark is anything, because Jalen Clark missed all of last year with that Achilles tear. I just think, dude, the fact that we have Joe Ingles, who was a 6th man of the year candidate, Dante DiVincenzo, who's been a 6th year of the candidate, Naz Reid, who won the 6th man of the year, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's amazing, Rob Dillingham, who I think at the very least is going to be like a Bones Highland, if not better. And then you still have at the starting lineup of Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, Mike Conley. I just think that this team can go either small ball with Julius Randle at center or Nas at center. And then you have the ability to have like Joe Ingles, Dante DiVincenzo, Jaden McDaniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Terrence Shannon, Josh Minot, Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, and Rob Dillingham to run this like 4-wing or 1 guard, 3 wing, 2 guard, 2 wing, 1 center, small ball, push the pace, and like just wild lineups that I think we can either be supersized or we can be like we can run the small ball or the big ball. And that's what I think is the big thing, is that we're matched up to be able to compete now against the Dallas Mavericks, against the PJ Washington, the Daniel Gaffords, Derek Lively's, but also against the Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horfords of the world. And the same thing, we're built to go against, big boy Rudy Gobert, and I'm not Rudy Gobert, big boy Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid with Rudy Gobert, but then we can also expose them by using guys like Naz Reid and Julius Randle, by spacing the floor out and making those guys, like their big guys, have to guard in space. So I really think and also people forget, Chris Finch is one hell of a coach. I think Chris Finch is the most underrated coach in the NBA. If I had to say so myself, I think Chris Finch is one of those coaches that, when you see what he's been able to do, how he's coached all over the world, it gets me excited. Just looking, knowing that this is a team that, if you look at them, man, if you look at what they've been trying to do this year, I really think it's championship. And I think Anthony Edwards wants to be an MVP. I think the way that people looked at the Boston Celtics last year, I made the Boston Celtics, I thought the Boston Celtics, like, look how 2 years ago we thought the Nuggets were going to win it, and all year the Nuggets were the presumable favorites, and they were, and then they won it. And then the Celtics did the same thing, but they weren't kind of like as loud as the Nuggets were. I think the Timberwolves could be that team this year. Like, I know people are going to say still to this day that the best team on paper is the Celtics. I think the biggest concern with the Celtics is, they still were able to be good without Kristaps, so I guess like the Celtics are still number one, but like I think Minnesota and the Knicks are tied for second or whatever you want. Those are the top 3 teams talents wise in the NBA. So my whole thought is, why not Minnesota? And especially if Anthony Edwards plays like an MVP, Rudy Gobert still at Defensive Player of the Year, and Jaden McDaniels takes a jump at Julius Randle, you quite possibly could have easily 3 All-Stars on your team, 3 All-NBA guys, 2 All-Defense guys, and 3 All-NBA guys. Like, it's wild. That's my opinion. And a 6th Man of the Year candidate, multiple 6th Man of the Year candidates. I don't know. Pretty good team in my opinion. Hit that like and subscribe button, guys, if you liked the video. Let me know, and I think that's just going to be it for me. Peace out. Bye.